Welcome back to the Enfield Talking newspaper. Now we return to local news with Janet.
An aspiring singer-songwriter who started off as a lowly busker is about to embark on the next stage of her stellar career. Natalie Shea, 16, from Enfield, a two-time winner of the Mayor of London's Big Busk competition, is hoping that the release of her latest song, And They Stare on Friday, will see her star soar. The teenager studied at Ashmole Academy in Cecil Road, Southgate, before winning a place at the Brit School in South London, which boasts Amy Winehouse and Adele amongst its alumni. She is a classically trained guitarist and has been playing the instrument since the age of 5. For the past 4 years, she's been writing and performing her own material and won the Guardian Future 2014 Music Award, as well as the London Music Award for the Best Undiscovered Talent. Although reluctant to be tied down to one genre, Natalie admits she draws influence from singers and performers, including Kate Nash, Mumford & Sons, and Snow Patrol. The single, her second, is available to order from iTunes, and to mark the release of her single, Natalie performed at the monthly music industry night, the Metropolis Sessions.
Residents will be asked their views on how best to deal with an anticipated population boom in the next decade, which could see the borough's population rise by a third. Speaking to the Advertiser before the new local plan consultation is launched later this month, Alan Sitkin, Enfield Council's Cabinet Member for Business and Regeneration, explained that because the population in the borough is expected to rise by 100,000 by 2027, the council needs to hear from people on their ideas about the infrastructure required that would allow the borough to continue to provide for residents. We have a responsibility to keep the local plan up to date, said Mr. Sitkin. So where will these thousands of people flooding into the borough live? Mr. Sitkin admits that, as an old eco-warrior, none of the options they will have to look at are particularly palatable for him. We will need 50,000 more housing units in Enfield, so there are unfortunately a finite number of possibilities about where we can build, he said. People say they want to build on brownfield sites, but there is only so much brownfield site available. We could look at getting rid of our industrial land, but that means that we lose hundreds of jobs. We could look at higher density housing, but I am a ward councillor for people who live near the North Circular, who are experiencing more building and who already feel like their quality of life is being impacted on. Mr. Sitkin admitted that building on Greenbelt would be something the council would have to consider if it was going to be able to house the population of the borough. You have to be responsible about it, and you have to put it on the menu, he said. We live in a democracy, and it is an option people in Enfield will need to think about. But it will not just be homes that will be in demand as the population increases. With so many more people in the borough, there will be an increased demand for school places, GP surgeries and transport infrastructure to support a booming population. We will need 52 new forms of entry for primary and secondary schools, explained Mr. Sitkin, adding that as well as being consulted on where homes could be built, residents will also be asked to consider the best ways to accommodate building the necessary school places. The consultation will open in the middle of this month, and residents can give feedback to the consultation process through an online portal which is yet to be launched.
A cafe owner who championed coffee, community and cake, not necessarily in that order, has admitted that she has mixed feelings about selling her business after almost a decade serving commuters. Karen Mercer, who owns My Coffee Stop on platform 1 of Enfield Chase Station in Windmill Hill, Enfield, is selling the 7-year-old business after the landlord hiked up the rent on the small cafe, which is located towards the London-bound end of the platform. Karen became a prominent figure in the borough's Shop Local movement when she organised a series of shop cash mobs designed to celebrate and promote local businesses, with groups of 10 people visiting stores in Enfield en masse, each with a £10 note to spend there. She explained, "My highlights of our time here would be the awards that we won, such as Enterprise Enfield Green Business of the Year Award, the North and West London Award for Innovation, and the Silver Award in the Love London Smooth FM Best Coffee category." Despite difficulties negotiating with the landlord over the length of her lease and rent hikes, Karen says she feels positive about the future, especially as she hopes to sell the business to an Enfield-based entrepreneur who would take on her ethos. "My dream would be that someone who shares our idea of the importance of coffee, community and cake will buy the business from us," she said. "If they do, they will be able to keep our brand, so the name would stay the same, and they would automatically inherit the Facebook account and Twitter account, which has more than 6,000 followers. And we would be able to train them up in how we grind the beans and manage to get commuters in a rush out the door and on the train in a matter of seconds." Although Karen admits she will miss the regulars who have religiously brought their morning caffeine hit from my coffee stop, she adds that our regulars can still have a taste of us, as they will continue to sell freshly ground coffee and beans from her new base in Shepton Mallet in Somerset. Anyone interested in buying the business from Karen can contact her via mycoffeestop@gmail.com.
Obesity levels in the borough have been branded shocking, as 64% are classed as obese. Enfield Council has launched a campaign to raise awareness of sugar in foods and fizzy drinks. The number of 5-year-olds in Enfield labelled obese is over 1,000, which is 26%, while 163,700 adults are classed as obese, with almost 4 out of 10 children having untreated decaying teeth. Councillor Necker Kasor, Cabinet Member for Public Health, said, "Do people really know how much sugar is in their food? It's all too easy to consume sugar, and most people eat it in foods without even knowing. It's now time to show them just how much sugar they are consuming. Too much can lead to obesity and serious health conditions, such as type 2 diabetes, heart disease and some cancers. Obesity figures for Enfield are shocking. New guidelines mean children between 4 and 6 can have no more than 5 cubes of sugar a day, no more than 6 for 7 to 10-year-olds, and no more than 7 a day for anyone over 11. Councillor Kasor added, "I hope people will check for hidden sugar in our food, and that food manufacturers play their part in reducing the sugar in their products. We can do something about this by simply eating foods that contain less sugar, avoiding drinks with added sugar, and checking its content in processed foods. Billions of pounds are spent every year dealing with problems that are largely preventable. Treating type 2 diabetes costs the NHS £8.8 billion a year, almost 9% of its budget. The campaign depicts the facts about the hidden sugar in many products."
More than 100 people strode out on the last of this year's guided walks through the grounds of an Enfield beauty spot. They joined a Halloween history and mystery walk at Trent Park off Cockfosters Road. Walk leader Alan Metellus shared some of the legends about the park, and walkers were encouraged to dress up in spooky costumes. This year's series of 9 walks was funded by Enfield Council's Residents Priority Fund and were free for participants. The programme included bat watching, survival and bushcraft techniques, as well as a history of the park. Walkers also joined a longer excursion from Trent Park to Forty Hall in Forty Hill, Enfield, as part of the Lee Parks Walk during summer. Organisers at the not-for-profit Black Rainbow event said an average of 60 to 70 people joined in each walk. Mr. Metellus said he was hoping to attract funding to offer more events next year. He said the programme continues to be highly effective and low-cost tool for raising awareness and building strong community involvement. We work on the principle that informative events like these should be free and fun and not exclude people on low incomes who have large families, making many unable to pay for the ticket price, often associated with guided tours.
Developers have submitted additional plans as part of the multi-million-pound scheme to redevelop Chase Farm Hospital. The amended plan includes a proposal to keep the Highlands wing to be used as rehabilitation wards and changes to the shape and orientation of the new hospital building, which could be up to 32,000 square metres. The scheme also includes a 3-form entry primary school, 500 homes and extra access to the hospital in the Ridgeway Enfield, opposite Ridgecrest, and an exit from the school via Shooters Road. Other details include the extension of the hospital car park, partial demolition of the clock tower complex, and removal of the clinical waste treatment plant and fuel oil burner. The Royal Free London NHS Foundation Trust says the changes allow for greater flexibility to expand the building significantly in the future. The Trust's Chief Executive, David Sloman, said, if accepted, these proposals will mean a fantastic new hospital that will meet the needs of the local community for years to come, as well as new homes and school places in Enfield. A further application, which will deal with details including the appearance of the new hospital, are set to be submitted to Enfield Council in the next few days, and the Trust has released an artist's impression of how the new hospital could look. The Trust took over Chase Farm and Barnet Hospital in 2014. Accident and emergency and maternity services at Chase Farm were shut in 2013, reducing the number of hospital beds at the site. Copies of the plan can be seen at the hospital and at Enfield Town Library in Church Street. People can also attend drop-in events at the Chase Farm Redevelopment Hub and meet senior NHS staff to talk about the proposals. The events will be held between 5 p.m. and 8 p.m. on Monday, November the 16th, from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m. on Wednesday, November the 18th, and from 2 p.m. to 5 p.m. on Friday, November the 20th. The hub will also be open as usual from noon until 4 p.m. on Wednesdays, Thursdays and Fridays. The planning application can also be viewed at www.enfield.gov.uk, entering the hospital's postcode EN2 8JL.
Enfield Town began their FA Trophy campaign in fine style by romping to a 4-0 victory at home to Leighton Town in the first qualifying round on Saturday. The hosts began as strong favourites against a side struggling in the Southern League Division 1 Central, and it did not take long for their superiority to shine through as Bobby Devine opened the scoring inside 7 minutes. Corey Whiteley doubled Town's advantage before the interval, and second-half goals from Durnall, Winter and Whiteley wrapped up a convincing triumph. Unbeaten in 10 matches at home heading into the contest, Town started brightly and had their first real effort on goal in the 5th minute when Mickey Purcell surged into the box and unleashed a shot which was tipped over by Leighton keeper Aaron Bufton. Ryan Doyle headed Whiteley's resulting corner wide from a good position, but Town did not have long to wait before breaking the deadlock, as Winter claimed possession in midfield and produced a terrific defence-splitting pass to Devine, who calmly rolled the ball beyond the advancing Bufton and into the net. Town's dominance continued, and Whiteley stabbed Devine's low cross wide from close range before Samir Behoutin had a shot superbly blocked by James Hatch, following a 1-2 with Whiteley. Leighton managed to weather the initial storm without conceding again, but they offered little attacking threat, with David Hughes enjoying a largely untroubled afternoon, having been handed a rare chance to impress in the Town goal. The hosts did still create opportunities, and Whiteley fired over from a good position following a nice build-up. The same player drilled another shot onto the roof of the net. Whiteley found his range when he doubled Town's lead on 36 minutes. Olu Durajay was the architect with a fine run which saw him evade several challenges as he got to the byline before pulling the ball back for Whiteley to score with a low shot. There was little more action of note before the interval, and the second half began in a similarly lacklustre fashion. But Town suddenly sprang back into life as they added a third on 57 minutes through Winter's low 30-yard shot. 4 minutes later, the hosts claimed their fourth. A long punt downfield was flicked on by Harry Ottaway, and although Leighton's Jordan Jenkins latched onto the ball, he was dispossessed by Whiteley, who deceived Bufton with a perfect dummy before slotting into an empty net to score his fourth goal in 2 games. Twice, Whiteley could have gone on to complete his hat-trick after finding himself in the clear. However, Leighton never looked like grabbing a consolation goal, and Ottaway almost added a fifth for Town in the last minute when his shot from the best part of 25 yards out crashed against the bar as they cruised through to a home game against Thamesmead Town in the second qualifying round on November the 14th.
A call has gone out to encourage people to become community-minded heroes by volunteering in their free time. Enfield Council is seeking more Enfield heroes to roll up their sleeves and make a real difference where they live. An estimated 40% of the population are already volunteers, but the council wants more people to take on tasks, including mentoring young people or doing odd jobs for community organisations. Yasmin Brett, Cabinet Member for Community Organisations and Culture, said, "We've got an estimated 100,000 heroes in Enfield who already give up their free time to help others. That's incredibly community-spirited, and we enormously value the contribution they make to the borough. Enfield Heroes is all about building on the great tradition of volunteering we have in Enfield and encouraging even more people to give their free time to really transform the lives of people in need of help and assistance. Voluntary groups and community organisations in Enfield can register for the 100 Hours Club to encourage people to volunteer their time. People who join the club and volunteer for a minimum of 100 hours a year or 2 hours a week will be invited to a civic reception to thank them for their contribution. They are presented with a certificate and a limited edition pin badge. If you think voluntary groups in Enfield offer a sterling service to the community, they can be nominated for a Queen's Award for voluntary service. The new accolade was introduced in 2002 to mark the Queen's Golden Jubilee. To find out more about nominating groups of volunteers, you can call 020 7781 2397. Kostakis Evangelou, who volunteers with Edmonton Eagles Amateur Boxing Club, which won a Queen's Award this year, said, "I would encourage everyone. Whatever contribution they make, it's rewarding, and you get back more than you give. It's priceless. You also meet a lot of wonderful people you work with, and you learn from different people."
The MP for Enfield North was impressed when she visited local businesses to learn more about the support provided for companies. MP Joan Ryan took a trip to the Wentner Business Centre in Inver Park, Electric Avenue, in October to meet small businesses based there, as well as the Wentner team who run the centre. Wentner has seen the number of businesses based at the centre rise from 34 to 46, with occupancy levels increasing from 49 to 95%. She was taken on a tour around the centre to view the recent investment of refurbishment works that Wentner have carried out since buying the building in the spring of 2013 from Enfield Council. She said, "I'm very impressed with the Wentner Business Centre and what they are doing to provide a home and support for local businesses. This is hugely important for Enfield, helping businesses to grow and be successful." The MP was shown the different services provided to the local business community by the centre. These services include an office, a workshop rental meeting room hire, training courses, online business advice and virtual office services. Ms Ryan met with Graham Wilson from BT Local Businesses, represented by Switch On Communications Limited.
A park has reopened after a £118,000 transformation. Refurbishment of Aldersbrook Park in Enfield includes new swings, slides, trampolines and a bike slope. Josie Warden from the Friends of Aldersbrook Park, who helped secure the money from Enfield Council, Friends in Trust and the Mayor of London, told the Enfield Independent she felt a sense of achievement. She said, "It looks fantastic. It has been a long time in the making, but we are delighted with the outcome. We have all worked really well together and the park has been busy all week since it reopened." Councillor Daniel Anderson said, "Aldersbrook Park is a well-used local park, but one that was in need of renovation. However, now the redevelopment is completed, this park will be a haven for fun, boasting state-of-the-art play equipment and landscaped green spaces. I will enjoy returning when it has been completed." Mrs Warden said the Friends group is hoping to host a 6-month celebration in the spring. She said, "I am really proud with what we have done. It's an important day for the park." Councillor for Enfield Town, Joanne Laban, said, "The new look playground is a great thing for the ward. Families of all ages have already visited and enjoyed it. Parks are important in our borough and they are to be used. I am glad that the hard work put in by the Friends of Aldersbrook Park has produced such a wonderful playground."
Some patients will be unwilling to travel across Enfield to visit one of 2 GP clinics offering extra appointments this winter, a doctor has warned, as it was revealed that almost half of Enfield surgeries were boycotting the service. Enfield Clinical Commissioning Group has provided £500,000 funding for an additional 15,000 GP appointments in a 6-month scheme which started last month and runs until March the 31st next year. However, 23 of the 49 GP surgeries in Enfield have decided to boycott the pilot programme. Dr Ian Fletcher, interim head of Enfield GP Healthcare Network, said, "The central aspect is that there is money available for extra appointments, but the way it's being used just won't work. People don't want to go any distance." He said instead of travelling to the 2 surgeries offering the extra appointments, patients will simply go to out-of-hours care or wait to see a doctor at their own surgery. Dr Fletcher said the money would buy half as many consultations as it could if organised differently, and appointments could be provided much closer to patients' homes. The CCG is planning to evaluate the pilot scheme with a view to commissioning a service in future. During the pilot scheme, Evergreen Primary Care Centre in Smythe Close, Edmonton, or Green Lane Surgery in Winchmore Hill will offer patients from other surgeries the opportunity to see a GP between 4 p.m. and 8 p.m. on weekdays and between 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. on Saturdays. Enfield CCG says the service has been developed and designed with GP networks representing all the practices across the borough. The CCG's chairman, Dr. Mo Abadi, said the scheme aimed to help improve access to GPs and to reduce pressure on busy A&E departments, especially as we approach the winter months when patients are more likely to become ill and need to be seen quickly. Patients can get access to the extra consultations via the NHS 111 service if their GP practice is unable to offer an appointment within 48 hours.
Stomp has celebrated 13 years in the West End by opening their doors to local school children. The show's producers organised a special free schools matinee for 13-year-olds on Monday, October the 12th at the Ambassadors Theatre. Through the Mousetrap Theatre Foundation, students from state-maintained mainstream schools, including pupils from Highland School in World's End Lane, Enfield, were invited to see the production and take part in the post-show Q&A with the cast. Susan Widdington, Director of Mousetrap Theatre Projects, said, "We've used this opportunity to reach out to schools in some of London's most disadvantaged communities, as well as schools that have never accessed our programmes. We feel this is the ideal show for this age group and will be a wonderful and memorable first theatre experience for these students." Stomp, created by Luke Cresswell and Steve McNicholas, was first performed in 1991 in Edinburgh, before moving to London's West End in 2002, and the show won the Olivier Award for Best Choreography in 1994. One of Britain's greatest exports, Stomp has toured the globe for 22 years, playing over 20,000 performances to more than 12 million people in 53 countries on 6 continents. Steve McNicholas, Stomp co-creator, said, "We wanted to find a different way to celebrate 13 years in the West End, and what could be better than opening our doors to other 13-year-olds? We've reached the end of our programme for this week. Thank you for listening. So from the team of Janet, Sally, Colin and Keith, and Robin on the controls, it's goodbye. Please remember to turn over the address label in your postal packet, put the cassette into the packet and return it to us as soon as possible, in readiness for the next edition. Don't forget you can call Diana Jersey regarding any help you may require in connection with Enfield Talking Newspaper. The Enfield Talking Newspaper will be with you again in 1 week's time.